G'day viewers, end of another week. Time for, look, it's probably still going to be Friday somewhere, maybe when I upload this, who knows, Saturday my time. I'm sick, can you tell I've got the huskier than normal voice, which is part of the reason I didn't do it last night. Anyone who follows me on Twitter would also know it's because my internet was playing up last night, so I was really frustrated. So I used some of my most colourful language to express that frustration. But you know, hey, soldiering on, and so I'm sick, so I'm in a Totoro onesie. Don't judge me! Just, you know, you're not the boss of me. But really, there is some totally fucked up stuff in the world, not just me in a Totoro onesie. I'm going to go and hang out at bus stops in the rain with an umbrella and see what happens. In the meantime, I'm going to bring you some stories, and a big one that a couple people pointed me to, big as in, I think it's totally fucked up. I haven't seen a huge amount of media on it, although it is on the BBC website. An English barrister has spoken out about the investigations that are going into sex offences among, well, it all started with English entertainer Jimmy Saville, who is the most stereotype-looking sex offender ever, and he was apparently protected for years by people at the BBC and other places. Big, huge investigation of all sorts of people who've been in entertainment in the UK have been implicated, some charged, some investigated, some questioned. I'm not going to bother to name them, although as I did note one person on Twitter saying at the most recent one that came out was like, oh my god, it's like everyone who existed in the 70s was guilty of these sex offences. Now, one interesting thing about it is most of the offences that have come to light so far have been against teenagers, like not against very small children. Now, this barrister, her name's Barbara Hewson, apparently from a great big law firm. She's not some fly-by-night crazy type, but she's gone out and said the whole problem is that it's illegal. See, if it wasn't illegal, we wouldn't have a problem. So her solution to these people in positions of influence, power of various degrees, having sexual interactivity with people under the legal age is to lower the legal age. That's her solution. Lower the age of consent to 13. As far as she's concerned, this is not long overdue justice for victims of abuse. This is persecution of old men. Sure? Okay, I mean, this is one of those instances that, like, one of those internet phrases seems to have been made for. I look at this and I go, I don't, what even is this? It's just, now if you read her whole thing, it's a bit more nuanced than it first seems, because at first just seems like the ravings of a fucking nutbag. Hey, you know how to stop having sex with the underage teenagers being a crime? Lower the age of consent, and then they can do it legally. There's a reason we have a slightly older age of consent. She does raise the issues of past moral panics and whatnot, and then she really gets lost in the hyperbole and says it's like Soviet Russia. Of course it is. Of course it is. It is a little bit mind-blowing to me. Now, I'm not one of those types who think, oh, now let's start a campaign to get this person disbarred. No, let someone state their mind. If they're crazy as fuck, let them be crazy as fuck in public. I think this is crazy as fuck. In terms of a defense, it's like, they committed a sexual offense by, under the law, they forced themselves on someone who's underage. You can say whatever you like about the age of the person or what they were in the situation. Under law, they forced themselves on the person. That's what statutory rape is. And you know what? They knew it was illegal when they were doing it. So this is what I don't get. They were doing something that they knew was illegal because they could. And this person's response is, let's just make it legal. What could possibly go wrong with when they committed these sex offences that they knew they were illegal? Let's just lower the age. I couldn't see anything going further wrong with that at all. But if this gets adopted, I want it applied to, well, it's what the politically correct folk call murder. I call needs doing. That's what it used to be in defence. A lot of my friends in frontier states in the US point out that where they live, it used to be a defense for killing something was, for killing a person was needed killing. And haven't we all been there? Honestly? So, you know, if you're gonna reform age of consent laws, let's just acknowledge the fact there are people out there, they need killing, okay? I'm just putting it out there. If a renowned legal mind can say, oh, the way to stop people being kiddly fiddlers is to make kiddie fiddling legal, I can say the way to keep me out of jail for killing people who need killing is just make it legal. That's all I'm saying. And I think, you know, we all may have bigger things to worry about anyway, because there was a really scary target reached this year, a really high concentration of carbon dioxide in the air. Now this is, yes, global warming. Where is it bad? Well, see, one of the targets they wanted to avoid forever, like, oh, if we take action, we can stop from hitting this 400 parts per million in the atmosphere, because that would be bad. We just hit it. Not like a permanent thing, it was a peak. But it's, you know, it's a message. As what I often say to people, like, I have no time at all for global warming, climate change deniers, full of shit. You've got, you know, 97% of peer-reviewed science telling you, you know, this is it, okay? You're politically motivated, the truth doesn't matter to you, so I don't fucking waste time with you. But by the same token, with the little extremes and stuff, they're not complete and absolute consequential things in and of themselves. They are indicators that we have a really fucking big problem, and rolled into together, like, yes, the carbon content in the air is now at dangerous levels, and in all probability is going to get considerably worse. And so we're going to get the extreme weather, the droughts, the floods, the heat, the extreme cold, because we're fucking up the balance and we're all going to pay. And I live near the fucking coast, okay? I don't really want to go underwater, so, you know, fuck, you know, this, like, yeah, does anything else measure up against really scary, depressing news like this? I don't know. But I'm going to round out, but I cannot breathe properly. I really can't. But I'm going to soldier on. The last point I wanted to make, I did have someone send me a link. A story I talked about before, a copyright troll law firm in the US, they're called Prenda Law. They basically, you could call it, and I believe a judge has called it ensnaring people and saying, we're going to put a copyright claim on you, and it's not for downloading the latest Beyonce. They go, no, you downloaded this really dodgy sounding porn title, and unless you pay us this money, we'll take you to court and we'll embarrass you because you'll be on record as having downloaded porn. You don't want that. Give us money and it all stays quiet, okay? It's a scam. The judge has called it a scam. This judge in California, there's a whole bunch of links. This judge is freaking awesome. He uses Star Trek references. I mean, he trolls them right back, because one of the things they do, they say the money they ask for someone to pay out is slightly less than the minimum it would cost you to mount a defense. So it's like, oh God, it's the minimum. Oh, I'll just pay it to get rid of it. The judge actually fined them an amount, and he went to the trouble of pointing it out. That's just less than the minimum it would cost you to mount a challenge to my ruling, which is one of the best fuck yous I've ever seen. The other part of his colossal fuck you was saying, because these guys are in courts all over the US, right? Because they're running all these cases, and he's said, I'm now going to compel you to show my judgment to every court, every judge you're up against. Now, it's not binding, because there's a whole thing about state and federal law, but it's can be quite compelling when a judge says, I found you out doing this, this, and this. Another judge sees it and goes, well, this saved me a bit of fucking time, didn't it? And one of the cases they've got going on is in Georgia. And to give you an idea of the caliber of the people involved, the law firm, when they're fronting the judge, saying, okay, here's why you shouldn't, you, in the fine God-fearing state of California, no, of Georgia, shouldn't listen to those godless Californians. They have gay marriage. Okay? Ignore all the legal things. They have gay marriage. As legal defenses go, they have gay marriage. Don't listen to them. Not the best I've ever heard. Also, not the worst, quite honestly. But yeah, whenever I bring these people say, what can I do? For the US, and the US does lead the world on these things, not least because the US tries to force their copyright rules on the rest of the world. And there's a bilateral, what do they call it when both Republicans and Democrats agree to put something forward? He said, I'm sick, I can't think of the right word. But they're cooperating. And it's a bill to basically fix the worst parts of the DMCA. Notably, you know how it's illegal to jailbreak your phone in the US. It's illegal to break a lock, to do something that's still legal. Like, I want to install some legal software that Apple doesn't want me to on here, and I paid for the product, so I want to do it. And that's against the law as it stands. These guys, that's the main change they want to make. They want to fix the worst parts of the DMCA. There's a link below for Americans. Fill it in, send it to your representatives and say, hey, this is a good law. We'd like this one passed. Thank you. Could we lower the insanity levels on the whole fucking copyright regime? That would be good. And it wouldn't be TFU Friday if I finished on a hopeful note. No. And because one more link on this same topic is a good observation. A couple articles that are linked within the thing I'm linking to. Basically saying, oh, you think Prenda's the end of it? No, they're the beginning. It's an actual business model. Patent trolling, copyright trolling. It's a business model. It's people, the law is so restrictive, they can just say, yeah, it's like when the people have said, we've proved you've downloaded 6 songs. That'll be $200,000, thank you. It's fucking insane. There's no logic to it. There's no sense to it. There's no justice to it. And the way the laws stand, it's going to get worse, not better. Because more and more people are going to see this is a business model. They can make money of it. The artists, the whole thing about, you've got to pay for your music, your books, your movie. The artists never see any of this money. No artist ever has benefited from this bullshit. Never. It's a fucking lie. It's about lawyers and fucking publishing companies, and it's destroying the fucking freedom of everyday people, and it's hurting the artists. It never helps them. It always hurts them. And unless we do something, this is just going to get worse. I'm sick. Okay.